So let's hop in here. It's so great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So before we get into your work and career, I want to begin with the question that I always start with. I thought it would go away a few years ago, but it's just too prevalent. COVID. 6 years ago, changed the world, changed all of us. How did you get through it, and how has it changed the way that you operate and do things today?
Ooh, that's a really great question. I still work. I still work in the dental consulting field. That's been my background for the last 14, almost 14 years. And at that time, I hadn't fully launched my GSD Queen business, and so we were helping dentists. And it's kind of where GSD Queen started too. We were helping dentists who, in the midst of this shutdown, were absolutely panicking. And it was, how do we continue our business? How do we continue to see patients safely? And how do we, there was a lot of stress around that. And so I was seeing a lot of dentists, super overstretched, overworked, overstressed, in their world. And kind of the beauty of that business was we were there to support people from the beginning, and then during COVID, with Dental Success Network, and then during COVID, they were like, we need help, and we had already kind of built the infrastructure, so we just kind of went into overdrive for providing resources, providing content, providing how to run a dental practice during COVID. However, like I said, during that point, my GSD Queen business, that's when I saw again people be really stressed out and kind of hit their peak and their max. And that's kind of in the early stages of 2019 is where this started. But then in 2020 is where I really wanted to help start providing more support and more services. And GSD Queen started by helping to find executive and personal assistants for these dentists so that they could have some more support, so that they could continue to run their businesses and not be so overwhelmed by everything around them.
So let's get to the heart and soul of everything that you do on a daily basis. And to do that, kids get the truth out of us. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day. And the kid in the back of the room is like, what do you do for a living? How do you answer him?
Yeah, now what I'm doing is I am helping people who have really built their identities off of how much they can check off a list, how much they can get done, how productive they are in redefining success and in redefining, happiness and escaping burnout. That's what I'm doing now.
So I'm curious in this line of work, is this becoming more prevalent now? I don't ever remember hearing that there was people out there to help with burnout, help with stress. It was just always kind of, well, you're in the business world, you're a professional, deal with it. Is this more of a modern advent that may be an offshoot of mental health spotlights that were shown during the pandemic?
Yeah, I think that it definitely is. I think people are becoming much more open and being more vulnerable about needing help. That's what happened with me personally. I had reached a point in 2017, 2018, where I was so stressed out, so burnt out that I had given myself shingles at 33 years old.
Wow.
That I was, and then I was like, I don't want to continue to do this anymore. I'm tired of acting like everything is fine and just pushing through. And like you said, that mentality of just like, oh, just deal with it.
Uh-huh.
So I decided that I was going to make big changes, that's when I shifted my career. And then, like I said, it started with me helping to find additional support team for other entrepreneurs, and now it's really led into I want to help the Ashleys, the people who were helping people get shit done, and are now looking to redefine who they are outside of that. So yes, definitely, I think a new and kind of upcoming way of thinking in the world. So it's really exciting and feels good.
It doesn't seem to me as though it's about doing less. It
Mm.
seems more about tapping into your original dream when you were younger or giving back. Does it seem like those are kind of the recalibration mechanisms that people are going for?
100%. It's exactly. It's about those things that made you happy and light up when you were younger, and those, finding redefining those passions again. This started in like I said, my background's in dentistry, and the number of people who start in dentistry and they're like, "Oh, I want to be a dentist and I want to help people." And that's where the core where it starts. But then they have to be business owners and managers and, manage payroll, and now they're overwhelmed and they're not getting to enjoy passion anymore. And so, now we see that in other forms of entrepreneurship as well, and other support team members, the other, Ashleys who are helping people behind the scenes, but they are burning themselves out in the execution of everyone else's dream, essentially.
So let's go to the beginnings of that adrenaline river for you. What was the job at 12? What was the career that you were trying to go for when you were at career day?
Ooh, that was a great question. So my original plan was I was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
But the reason I would wanted, it's the same type of thing. The reason I wanted to be a doctor is because I absolutely loved like seeing a problem and helping with it, and helping that person to manage it. That was kind of the core. And so that's when I got into my position of chief operations officer with Dental Success Network. That was helping then. It was kind of a different version of that. I realized I didn't want to go to med school. That was a big shift.
Yeah.
But I really love helping other people, get things done. It is satisfying to check things off a list. But I think you hit it on the head earlier, where you just kind of have to redefine and set the boundaries around the why behind it and not allow yourself to get lost in it.
So you're obviously highly driven. You're helping others. You're an entrepreneur. Take me back to your beginnings. What were those early seeds that were planted, those early foundational elements that have allowed you to get to this point, to be in medicine, be an entrepreneur? How did this happen?
Yeah, I owe a lot to my mentor, Dr. Mark Costas. And again, I started as his personal assistant. I just needed a job though. I
Yeah.
had gotten a degree in anatomy and physiology. Like I said, I was going to dental or not dental school, wanted to go to med school until I didn't. But then, he was like, I was like, I just need a job. And he's like, you're kind of overqualified for this job. I was like, I don't care. I just need a job. But through him and that position, I learned more than I ever did in any other, through my degree. I learned more about business. I learned more about event management. He was also a dentist, and so I was learning about business management and entrepreneurship. I had no idea that an entrepreneur was an actual job. I thought I come from a very blue collar background. I have a teacher, an electrician, a secretary in my family. These are very common jobs. I thought entrepreneur was a scam. So when I learned that, you can create businesses out of thin air, that was, kind of really exciting. And he also was like, you're helping me do this, but at some point we're going to find something that you want to do too. We're going to find something that drives you, not just this. And that's how you're going to get to, the goals that you want to. It's not just going to be through this position and working for me. It's going to be you building your own thing. And so I owe a lot to him for planting that seed.
So when did you decide this line of work was what you wanted to do? You obviously had to segue and kind of refocus the way that you wanted to live your professional life. But was it a first client? Was there an epiphany? Did you have a moment?
Yeah, the first step was in the, when I started finding personal administrative executive assistants for other entrepreneurs and finding so much satisfaction. It's kind of like professional matchmaking
Yeah.
when you can put a good person with someone who needs help and you can watch them get the support they need. It's so satisfying. Um, and that was kind of phase one. This phase two, now where I'm helping people kind of coach through burnout and that type of thing. That was me watching, these entrepreneurs and these people, and even the team members who help them be super burnt out and needing more connection, really. It's about needing more connection and needing to be seen. Um, and I was just noticing that as I was helping to find these personal administrative and executive assistants, and then I wanted to do more help with them. So then I got, went through some more coaching and training, and yeah, have fallen into this new branch.
Yeah. So who's ultimately been your inspiration? Who's been your heroic force that's allowed you to evolve to this professional point of satisfaction in your life?
Yeah, my grandmother, she was an absolute force. She uh, like first in the family to go to college, and she was my nickname is the GSD Queen, which is get shit done, but she's like the original get shit done
Yeah.
queen, and she had, she just taught me so much about grace and about grit. She had been through a lot there. She was literally born in a wagon under a tree in Texas.
Yeah.
And, but then, had then come up and became a school teacher, which is where she focused her energy for 28 years. But she was just always so inspiring. Her grit and her determination were relentless. And I owe so much to her as well.
So, in the realm of entrepreneurship or in business in general, if you could meet and have a lunch with anybody alive today, ask them some questions that might help you on your journey. Who would you love to hang out with for a little bit? I mean, it could be anybody.
Ooh, those are good questions. I think Mel Robbins would be interesting.
Yeah.
Would love to pick her brain. Brene Brown would love to dive in deep with her. Yeah, I think those are my two highlights at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm curious with helping people recalibrate their business lives. There's this debate of, balance, work-life
Uh,
balance. Some people blow it out of the water, others indulge and say, "Yeah, I see it." Where do you land on that whole idea?
Yeah, I think that I do think it's a myth. I don't think like work-life balance is just as I don't think it's as linear as people make it to be. It's not the scale where there's work-life balance. I think that when you can get back to your why, Simon Sinek's book is Start with Why, and if you can get back to your why of why you're doing things, the more starts to fall into place, and you can, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm not balancing this here, I'm not balancing this there. If you're focused on your why and what your, kind of purpose is, um, that's the seed that can just kind of help everything remain in relative harmony. It's never going to be, as soon as you fully focus on one thing, things get out of balance in one area, but you can remain kind of in harmony as long as you're kind of leading from your purpose.
So when you see the big word retirement, almost like it's in the
Mm.
Hollywood Hills and it's just right in front of you, what do you think when you think about retirement?
I don't think retirement is a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that, I think it's a concept that made sense maybe for a different generation. I'll be 38 this year, but I don't think that I'll ever, hit like 65 and be like, okay, I'm done, because I think then you kind of lose that purpose if you're just, and maybe some don't. I think that's
Yeah.
important that, once you've maybe given up a corporate job or something like that. But it's again, it's about tying to that purpose, kind of throughout your life. And if you're not having to work for somebody, you're having to, do 40 hours a week, and you have more time for that, I think that's great. But I don't know, retirement feels a little cut and dry, like it's this line that
Yeah.
happens, and it doesn't seem that way to me.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you were to have a dream tonight and you ran into a younger version of you and you
Mm.
had a big book in your hands and it was like a coffee table book and you handed it over and said, "This is how your life has worked out so far," would that young version of you believe it?
No, but also they would be excited to know that there was a different version that they had never even considered.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you give any
yeah,
advice?
just that it doesn't have to be as black and white as you think it does. Like I said, my younger Ashley was very like, oh, I have to be a doctor, I have to be a doctor, and if I don't have a job that has this title, then I'm not successful. Or if I don't, it just won't make sense, or it's, scary. That's another thing too. There would be a lot of fear in that younger Ashley around the idea of creating your own business around, this type of help. And I don't think that I think it would be a brand new version, a brand new story she hadn't considered yet.
So the one thing that you have to do with your clients is you have to swim through their world, and that can be murky. How do you protect yourself? What is the energy every day when that alarm clock goes off to do this job, to protect yourself and do all
Mhm.
of it at a high level?
I think it's really about intentionality. It's about being very intentional with my coaching when I am meeting with a client. It's putting myself in the right headspace of, okay, now we're gonna go here. Like you said, we do swim through some murky things, but the magic and that can happen, when you do kind of get in the hole. Empathy is about getting down in the hole with them and being like, I see you and this sucks. But it's about, one hand on the ladder and hey, I know how to get out of this. Can I help you too? And then once kind of the session is over, being intentional about kind of closing that out and then shifting your energy. So and not taking it with you throughout the day. So you're absolutely right. It can be a lot, but you just have to kind of be intentional about how you start and stop.
So, of everything that you've done, accomplished, and evolved to at this point in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I think again that I've created a life that I didn't expect. And I'm getting to help people in a way that was totally unexpected. I'm getting to make those, little Ashley wanted to be a doctor, but now I'm getting to still have connection with people, help people. It's just in a different way, and I'm very excited that um that it's turned out that way.
Yeah. So, Ashley, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am the one who is quietly observing so that we can tweak and help support in any way that we can. I mean, like I'm the one just had a family gathering and there was kind of some tension and I'm the one that's like, hey cousin, I see you a little tense. Let's just go for a walk real quick. And he's like, how did you even notice that? And I'm like, that's just what I do, but it can just appear that I'm the one, like I said, like I have this um I can't think of the right word, but my nickname is the GSD Queen and just getting shit done. So it
Uh-huh.
looks like I'm just checking things off the list, but it's far more about just being so much aware of the space around me and helping where I can.
Almost like a UN peace envoy. You got to go in, right? And take care of it.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so let me ask you this. If you could get into a time machine and go into the future 20 years ahead or 10, 20 years ahead, or go back in time and see one event in human history unfold before your eyes, and neither of them would mess with time or create the Back to the Future scenario, where would you go? What would you love to see?
Oh, that is a unique question that I haven't thought about before. Um, as a completely separate aside, I mean, I'm a giant dinosaur nerd, and I would love to go back and
Yeah,
just kind of see that timeline a little bit more, some like actual Jurassic World,
yeah,
like as a nerdy aside, yeah, I think that would be fun.
awesome. So, for those out there that want to get shit done, they want to claim their piece, where do they go? How do they hire you? Questions, any of the good business, where do they go?
Yes, visit gsdqueen.com. All the information is on my site. You can fill out a form. My phone number's on there as well. And yeah, that's how you reach me.
Excellent. Final question. What's the best thing about living in Denver, Colorado?
The mountains and the fact that we have 300 days of sunshine a year.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that sunny all the time.
It's so sunny. When we get snow, it dumps snow and then it's gone within 24 hours usually, or at least the sun
Okay.
is out. Like it's so sunny.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, stayed in Castle Rock a few years ago, and there was a weird weather thing going on. Like there was just things coming in. There was a lot of rain. It was back and forth. So I haven't spent enough time there
Uh,
consistently. So that's very encouraging that it's that sunny all the time.
yeah,
So
that was one of the few, in that 65-day range that you
yeah,
got.
yeah. It was a weird state we got in. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put all these links in the show notes. It's wonderful to meet you. Best of luck. Have a great new year.
Thank you so much, Joe. It was lovely to meet you too.
Great to meet you.